Yeah, making sure we're past that point before we go live. Okay.
Make sure we're past what part? Oh. Okay, yeah, good idea. Okay. Are we live now?
Yeah, we're live. I don't remember the intro. So we're back to our old setup.
Yes, we are.
How's that feel?
It's going to be difficult looking directly into the camera and not
at
to
our
me.
Beautiful selves. We've aged so well.
Comparatively to what we used to look at.
Yeah. Collectively, we've lost like 150 pounds.
It's a bit. Should I pull up? Should I go live on Instagram so I can let some folks know real quick?
Sure. Oh, did you drop the link?
I didn't.
You didn't drop the link?
I didn't. I noticed the grammatical error in the title that you made, and I went to go fix it.
I had a grammatical error in the title. What did I say?
You had a few. Title,
yeah, I'm not great.
Title capitalizations. It should only have an apostrophe if it is. It is. That's putting two words together.
What?
Little stuff. Because that's whenever it's putting two words together. If it's the ownership of the word it.
Texas schools, what are you gonna do?
Then you don't Then you don't put the s at the end of it.
What can you do?
Let me share the link. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm a mess.
Talk to the audience while you.
Who watched Loki?
I've watched the first 2 episodes now.
I finished it, and
don't spoil it for me.
I'm not gonna spoil it.
I'm actually enjoying the first 2 episodes so far.
Okay, really? I enjoyed the first episode, and I enjoyed the last episode.
Okay. Just leave it at that. Well, I mean, I guess I have something to look forward to then.
Well, you do. I can't. Dude, there's so many things I want to say about all these Marvel shows, but you haven't seen any of them.
I know, man. I'm sorry. I'm catching up. I promise you. I pinky promise. You haven't seen Black Widow yet, I'm assuming.
No, I haven't seen Black Widow yet.
Okay.
How did you see Black Widow yet, but you haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier? And
because Black Widow was supposed to come out first, before all of this.
Okay, you remember Stranger Things? Let's talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. You remember whenever Stranger Things came out, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Steve, he's such a terrible person." Do you remember that? And I was like, actually, I really like Steve this entire time. Everything he's doing, I would have done. Probably. That's how I feel about...
including, like, the styling of your hair and everything.
Including... If I had that hair, I would have...
This guy back in high school. It was one time he straightened it all out. He had his hair really long, and he straightened it.
And it was...
glorious. Very glorious.
Glorious purpose. It was good. It was good. Do we have a way to... Okay, yeah, we can see the stream. You know what? Maybe I'll hold this on my lap, and I will...
I'll set the iPad up so that we can...
Oh, I just have this on. We should be able to see it right there.
I have terrible eyesight, so I'm going to count on you.
I have good eyesight. A doctor told me, young man, you are blessed.
With glorious purpose?
With glorious purpose. God, you got to finish it. You need to finish it all tonight.
Think of that.
That is cool.
That's art by Jay Chic.
Jay Chic. Is he watching?
No, probably not. Jay Chic is currently retreating into the mountains right now for vacation. And I'm super jealous.
I love the mountains for vacation.
He's disconnecting from the interwebs.
Favorite vacation spot?
I got my commissions in right before he left.
We're talking about his graphic novel, Hull of North.
Yes, we are talking about that. Talk.
Oh, yeah, talk. I'm sorry. Okay, so, John, I forget his name. John something. Now, who's the guy that replaces Captain America in Falcon and Winter Soldier?
The person who replaces Captain America, in fact, John... I don't know, I haven't seen it. John Connor?
No.
John Smith?
How cool would that be?
John...
I need to put a lens back on that thing because it has an exposed sensor right now. And I just remembered.
I'm assuming that's...
It's not great. It's not great.
It's important.
It's detrimental to the health of the sensor, of the camera. Okay.
I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, here we go. I got the chat up. All right, perfect.
Let me bring up my notes.
Why does the video look so poor? Anyway, this is a mess.
Maybe
I got here late.
Brighten it up.
I got here late.
Should I brighten it up?
A little bit.
Okay, one more.
But I'm here now. I'm ready. I'm in the zone.
Looks fine right there. I think it's just because your fancy schmancy iPad is dark right now.
Do you think that's what it is?
Maybe.
That's probably what it is. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna sweat it. I'm clearly sweating it. I'm clearly sweating it. We have an agenda for today's episode.
We do. We have a plan this time.
We came into this with a plan. We had a plan last time too.
A rough plan.
It was
a plan that we didn't plan very well.
I didn't plan this one too thoroughly either. I just kind of Googled a few things and found a few funny one-liners.
Now, I got to remember... Okay, so the theme today is guess the movie by its 1-star review. So
Andrew and I both sought out low-rating reviews for certain movies. All of mine are fairly modern. They're all... I think they've all been released this year, or maybe this year and last year. But we sought 1-star reviews. I took out things that would be spoilery, so things that would actually give it away. I've redacted that information.
I did that. Okay, I did that for ones that were just going to outright be obvious, but I did not do that for ones that you probably the rest of the review might be a little bit too generic. I calibrated.
You calibrated.
Calibrated.
Like Garrus.
Mass
Effect.
I really want them to make like a Game of Thrones kind of
Mass
Effect. Except get those morons off of the project. Get somebody who's gonna and not J.J. Abrams.
Not J.J. Abrams.
You know, a Denis Villeneuve.
No,
Mass
they need to
Effect
hire
series.
Do you do not remember?
Gosh, that would be so good.
Do you not remember Untitled with Andy and Jeremiah, the first series?
I wonder how the.
I said I have the.
I think the audio is good. Yeah, I think it's
let's
good.
hope the audio is good.
It's probably good.
I have all 6 seasons of the Mass Effect television show planned out already. I've still got it in my OneDrive.
So does Lessons from the Screenplay.
Who are they?
You've never watched Lessons from the Screenplay?
No. Hell with them. They're nothing.
He sat down at a coffee shop and planned it out on Notion, so that's not...
Is that why you
or Skriniver. No, that's not. No, I've been using Notion for like everything I do now.
Is that so?
Yeah, if it's not Notion, I don't do it.
Yeah. Do you have a subscription to Notion?
I haven't had to yet.
Okay. Are you going to?
Probably eventually.
Okay.
After you reach 1,000 cards, you have to... That's whenever you do a subscription. All right.
Okay.
So let's do...
We're having a meeting while we do the live.
Yeah. Let's kick it off. Because we tend to drag things out sometimes, I'm aware.
All right. You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Here's my first one. The title of this review.
All right. I'm listening.
Overrated.
Fantastic.
Not sure what kind of message this movie is supposed to send. Or is it supposed to be just fun? Because it's not. I don't sympathize with the main character at all. Throughout the whole movie, he would get on my nerves. I was waiting the entire time for the plot to start revolving. And this person's about as good as writing as I am. When it finally... I'm guessing he meant evolving. Okay. And when it finally did, the movie was over and left me with a feeling that I've wasted 2 hours of my life on nothing. For a movie this high rating, I expected to see something fresh and inspirational, and somehow...
Or at least boobs.
To me, who's to say? It seems to me all the scenes and acting I've seen in this movie, I saw 1,000 times in a bunch of other movies, like it was cliche after cliche, Yawn Festival.
Okay, there's like no hint. There's like no nothing that I can gain from.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's probably the toughest one.
I legit have no idea.
That's the toughest one. Okay,
can you give me like some hints? Yeah,
I'll give you a hint. It came out. Let me double check.
Oh God.
Let me double check the.
It came out.
It came out 2019.
Oh God.
Came out in 2019.
Is it Rise of Skywalker?
No.
Okay.
Although that movie was pretty bad.
Is it... God, 2019. I still went to the movies in 2019.
I can't even remember. I went to go see...
Do you know...
Tenet.
Do you know if I saw this?
Theaters. You saw it.
Oh God. 2019. Was it?
No.
I have no clue.
Joker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Apparently some people like really didn't like Joker. Well, yeah, I mean you can say that about a lot of movies now that we did this little experiment.
Apparently people don't like lots of movies.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought Joker was good. I thought that it was entertaining. I think that Can you read like a key part of that? You don't have to read the whole thing again. Just read like I want to read it with the context of knowing that it's Joker.
I don't sympathize with the main character at all. Throughout the whole movie, he would get on my nerves.
How do you not sympathize with him even a little bit? I thought Joaquin Phoenix did a great job, like giving some.
Yeah, I find myself in the middle because some people were like, "Oh, he was in the hospital. How could he get fired? He just wanted to spread joy to the children." I'm like, there's kind of a difference between doing something because it makes yourself feel good and doing something because you're genuinely doing it for other people. And I feel like he was the former.
I would agree. And you can sympathize with the character to an extent, but that doesn't like say, "Oh, he was in the right to do this."
Oh, yeah.
He was in,
Yeah.
He should have killed, what was his name? Murray. No, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have done any of those things.
He shouldn't have done a lot of things. Especially,
quite a bit that he shouldn't have done in that film.
Kill Murray, show up in some random chick's apartment for no reason at all.
But you can sympathize with him to an extent. You can sympathize with the fact that he is somebody who's struggling as an individual and not getting the help that he needs.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Cool. I'm glad we're in agreement then.
Obviously, I think the movie is a little bit more complicated than some people give it credit for, and does a decent job at trying to present certain ideas that we could do an entire episode on. However, we're moving on to the next movie.
Okay. Next movie.
Focus.
All right. This is by Calvin J. Wiseman.
Ooh.
If that is your real name, Calvin J. Wiseman.
Probably not, Calvin.
I really wanted this to be good because I loved the first movie by the director. It was smart, funny, intelligent, and had a great, well-written story. This movie is none of these things. And for the first 30 to 40 minutes, the movie has the feeling of being forced and not developing like a natural story usually does. And the villain in this movie? Well, when I think of great villains like I think of Goldfinger or Zod or Thanos, these are the pinnacle of villains. And in this movie, we get the guy whose worst moment of evil is when he says something really mean. Just a confused mess of a film that doesn't bother to do any character development, which is sad considering it's 2 hours and 31 minutes long.
I feel like there's a lot of clues there.
Yeah, I picked reviews that gave clues away.
Yeah, that was the... Okay, so... It's 2.5 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly recent. It's a sequel. It has a villain who says some mean things.
Answer in the comments if
you put your answer in the comments. All of our fantastic viewers. What movie is that? Came out fairly recently. 2.5 hours long. Second part. Says some mean things.
I too am a fan of Wild Cherry.
Is this never mind. It Chapter 2.
No. Do you need another hint?
Give me one more hint.
It was streamable at release.
So it was, I'm guessing, a 2020, 2021 release.
Correct.
What sequels came out recently that were 2.5 hours long? The villain was that Black Widow?
No.
No.
No. There are plenty of bad reviews for Black Widow.
I haven't seen it yet.
But most of them revolve around saying, see a good superhero movie like Batman vs. Superman or Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No way.
Yeah, way.
No way.
Snyder bots are spamming the hell out of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of reasons to dislike it, but let's not bring those two movies as a comparison.
Please.
I can't get it. Wait, give me one more guess. Give me one more guess.
You got one more guess? You want another hint?
Give me one more hint.
It's got one of your favorite actors in it, or at least at one point he was one of your favorite actors.
It's a Michael Fassbender movie?
No, he's a different one.
Jake Gyllenhaal movie?
No, apparently this guy is no longer on your top list.
Okay, what is it? I give up.
It's Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, I haven't even seen that one yet.
It's not a great film.
I watched reviews, non-spoiler reviews, and then I was like, huh? And then I watched spoiler reviews, and I was like, oh, yep, that makes sense.
And this is one that
I love Chris Pine.
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about.
Chris Pine's great.
I'm in disagreement with a lot of the critics. This movie got pretty good reviews from like the critic circle whenever it first came out, and I was wondering like, what movie were they watching? Because this is not in my did the DCEU just in general make people expect poor films by releasing poor films year after year, or or am I actually missing out on something that is there that's not that I just can't see? No, it's not a good movie.
Okay,
IMHO.
so where on the spectrum of films does this? Let's compare this to an MCU film.
Okay. It's worse than any MCU film I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That come on, that's pretty bad.
But to be fair, most DCEU films I would put in that, with the exception of Shazam and the first Wonder Woman.
I really like Shazam.
Yeah.
And apparently it's coming out now that Zack Snyder kind of ghost directed the first Wonder Woman.
Did he?
That's what's coming out. Also,
then
per usual,
then he
if
has
you're a crying baby, it's being handled.
Then yeah. Then Zack Snyder has directed a good movie then.
Did you watch Army of the Dead?
I did
what's it called?
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I kind of want to watch it again. And I'm curious to see where this is going.
I say that, but I like Watchmen. I thought it was a great movie.
I like Watchmen.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. There have been Zack Snyder movies that I do like. Anyway, if he ghost directed the first Wonder Woman, I don't understand why her characterization in Zack Snyder's Justice League is so drastic from what we saw in Wonder Woman. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe the guy just can't build.
What characterization
in the first Wonder Woman?
She has characterization in the first Wonder Woman. But
she's a beacon of hope in the first Wonder Woman. Right. In Justice League, she's chopping dudes' heads off and obliterating terrorists in front of school children and stuff like that.
But she does it with a smile.
That's true.
And she does it with ending up telling a little girl, you could be whatever you want to be. Where in which case you have Bucky and Sam Wilson being like, no, you don't get to be whatever you want to. If you want to be Captain America, you don't get to be Captain America unless I'm okay with it.
Is that spoiler alerts?
Not really. That's kind of like in the first episode. Okay. Have you seen the first episode?
I haven't.
Okay, well, it's kind of in the first episode.
Okay.
So it's not really that spoilery.
Okay. I'm cool with that then. Statistically, they're being more realistic to these children than Wonder Woman was then.
Yeah, who is?
Bucky and
Oh, well,
Falcon.
not children. I mean, it's an adult. It was John Walker. This is kind of the attitude they present to John Walker.
Well, no wonder he turns into a jerk then.
I need to. You need to watch it. I have things I need to get off my chest about this show.
I will try to watch it all before the next episode. Every other week, folks, for the two of you that are currently watching right now.
I think one of them is you.
I think that we are going to. I don't know if that counts because it me. Oh no, it not me. Anyway, I think that we're gonna make up for it whenever we make the podcast available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever else you get your audio podcasts.
And everywhere. Yeah.
No.
I want to be more in frame.
Get in frame. Scooch. You scooch closer.
Like I'm too much in frame. Balance, as all things should be.
Where Wonder Woman 84? I would put it.
You really think it's worse than Thor: The Dark World?
I would probably watch Thor: The Dark World over Wonder Woman 84. That's pretty bad. Again. Because Thor: The Dark World, even though it is my least favorite Marvel movie, it's not that I even have anything that I actively dislike about it. I have fallen asleep every single time I've watched that movie.
It's boring.
It is boring, but
there's some exciting parts.
But it's got Kat Dennings in it, makes up for it.
And she says
she saves it.
I think so.
Who's the dad's name? The Skarsgård dad?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Man, I've loved his acting. The first thing I ever saw him in was King Arthur.
Yes.
I think is massive. Okay, if your impression of it was a theatrical release, I get it. Watch the director's cut. It's so much better.
It gets rid of the forced romance between what's his face and what's her face.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. And honestly, I saw the director's cut first because I didn't see it in theaters. I bought the director's cut DVD and I was like, why do people hate this movie? I don't get it. This is a really great film. And then I saw the theatrical release years later and I was like, oh, I get it.
You get it.
I get it. Give it a second chance. Watch the director's cut. It's amazing. But this is something that studios ham into because if you watch the commentary of Tears of the Sun, Bruce Willis and Monica Bellucci's characters were supposed to have a romance in that. And
Weird.
Antoine Fuqua was like, no. That's not happening. Not in my movie. That doesn't make any sense at all. We're not hamming that in here.
Until King Arthur.
And then I guess in King Arthur...
He lost the battle.
I don't know which one was first.
He did that, right? He did King Arthur, right?
Yeah. They're almost the same movie. The same way Tokyo Drift and Never Back Down are the same movie. King Arthur and Tears of the Sun are kind of the same movie also. But they're both great. All right. Next film.
All right.
Watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, please.
I will, I promise.
Okay.
For you.
The title. Horrible, horrible movie. Don't be suckered in by the inflated rating. This movie is horrible, and not in the it's a good horror movie sense either. There is no coherent story to be seen here, no pacing, no exposition. There's literally no character development. How am I supposed to care for the characters that I never get to know? I didn't care what happened to them. Here's some clues. The black kid, the fat kid, and the girl just kind of joined the group. There's no development or friend of the friendship or any kind of emotional bond. Boom. And they're friends.
Who's hating on It Chapter 1? Who's like that's
nailed it.
I get Chapter
Nailed
2.
It. Yeah, I get it too.
I love Chapter 2. I still mainly because of Bill Hader. But
he was good. There's things to love about it, but
It Chapter 1 is a good movie.
I do distinctly remember being bored in It Chapter 2.
There were a few times.
I was like, we have to go through 5 of these little side quests.
And as great as James McAvoy is, he doesn't get stuttering down perfect. Seems weird and forced when he does it. I don't know. Maybe somebody who has more experience with stutterers would beg to differ, but
like Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey has.
Yeah, he's like, I don't bring my statistics.
I always thought Adam Sandler was the best stutterer.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, my mama said,
Mama's wrong again, folks.
No,
yeah, you get that, but I kind of want to read the rest of this one because it's hilarious. There's no story. It's one jump scare after another, interlaced with a story. I put that in quotes because after the story segments, we're often left more confused than another person who's as good as writing as I am. Now to the horror. This wasn't scary, not even remotely. There was this one dude in the cinema that jumped at every scary scene, but he was hardly someone that could be considered a normal person.
This dude's just hating on everybody.
Who hurt you, reviewer? Who hurt you? The effects are mostly done with CGI and are horrible in all caps. They're so bad, they border on the point of comedic, and yes, I did laugh out loud several times. This person would have been absolutely obnoxious to have in the theater.
Well, don't you remember we were like the only ones laughing during Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah, but that was funny.
It was supposed to be funny, right?
There were parts that were supposed to, like, whenever he does that on his violin, because Robert Downey Jr., I think some people just don't have good sense of humor. Most of the scares are either done with loud music and fast sudden movement to startle you, or scary disfigured corpses that look like wax dolls made in a kindergarten class.
In my professional opinion, I would not call either It movie a scary film. I think that it is a adventure movie a la Goonies with horror elements to it, but it is not paced like a horror film. It has scary moments in it, but I wouldn't call it a horror movie. It was enjoyable though. The first one is a great movie in my opinion anyway.
I liked it. I really liked it, Chapter 1. I thought it was effective. I think that Pennywise wasn't scary so much as he was really good at making you just really hate him.
Yes.
He's such a nasty, nasty character that I really appreciated the talent that went behind making you... like. He's like the Pontius Pilate of horror movies.
Have you seen the behind the scenes stills of Bill Hader going up to this is the story anyway. Bill Hader going up to Bill Skarsgård and asking, "Hey, how did they do the eyes?"
Yeah, and then he just does them.
He does them,
and he freaks him out.
Bill Hader runs off screaming.
Yeah.
All right.
Talent. All right, hit me up.
This is by Mosher Gray. I'm sorry, Mosher Gray, if you are watching right now. It's a big, flashy, fast mess of a story. Basically, it's a lot of people going there to get something.
Star Wars Episode 3. Or not Episode 3, Episode 9.
Damn.
Got it. Nailed
Right
it.
off the bat.
Nailed it.
Going there to get something, but then needing to go somewhere else to get another thing they need. Then not needing what they were looking for because of lazy storytelling. Fortunately, it all happens so fast you barely have time to think about it until later. As for the cast, only Oscar Isaac provides any hint of charisma.
And then that's even questionable, I would say.
They killed my enjoyment of his character in Rise of or
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
In The Last Jedi, I was like, okay, I think I'm done. And then I remember texting you after I saw that initial trailer. I was like, okay, I'm back on board. And then more stuff started coming up about the story, the production, how Lucasfilm had like absolutely no plan. They were just like, let's get 3 random directors and have them go ham. However, Colin Trevorrow's leaked Duel of the Fates looked amazing. A laser decapitation execution in front of a bunch of soldiers. Did you see the leaked artwork?
No, I didn't watch it. I'm not a fan of his. There have been several movies that I have watched from him, or 2 movies.
Which
that
movies?
I've watched. Oh my God, there's this one that I can't remember the name of it, but it was so bad that they took Star Wars away from him. Something with the name Ben or Bill or
Odd Life of Timothy Green?
No.
Book of Henry.
Is that it?
I think it was Book of Henry.
Yeah. And Jurassic World, which I can't stand Jurassic World. It's hard to even watch it as what they call it, the satire. Like, it's the whole point of Jurassic World's existence is that it's telling you as the audience, it knows as a film that it's horrible to make another Jurassic Park. Like, it's a horrible idea. Even watching it with that lens, that meta lens.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Gangs of New York. I say this. Let me explain. So I was watching Gangs of New York, and I'm very into the intro. The music is great and surprising for a period piece. The dialogue is very interesting. The action sequences are brutal and interesting, and then once you see all of this violence happening, it sets up with one camera movement. It sets up how it seems that what's his name? Who directed that movie?
Gangs of New York.
Yeah,
Scorsese. Seezy.
And whatever.
I don't know.
Pretentious.
It's probably not Seezy.
In one camera
It'd
movement,
be stupid if it was Seezy.
It would be.
Come at me, Martin.
He shows how he feels about what's going on. It starts zooming up and out, and you see that all of these people are fighting over a tiny, tiny little patch of grass.
Hang on a second.
What?
Hang on a second.
What are you doing?
All right, go ahead.
One little tiny patch of grass in the whole of New York City. And so that's kind of what I started watching the rest of the movie through the lens of. And I think that it gets capped off, and I think that I'm right about the idea in the story, that being the idea in the story, because at the very end, the adults are called in and settle everything and basically just like decimate all of these gangs, and it's so funny. I think it's funny, but that's kind of like how I view Gangs of New York.
Sure.
That it's just a dumb idea. all of these struggles are kind of dumb because then the adults get called in and just mow everybody down. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, I feel that way about Gangs of New York.
I'm never going to be like, oh, he made a terrible movie, I'm not going to watch any of his stuff again. But I had seen him... So Jurassic Park for me was the same reaction that a lot of people who were such massive Star Wars fans had whenever they watched, what was it, Last Jedi? Not that it destroyed like the mythos behind the story, but that it was a very poor entry in the series, and to me felt like it killed the series.
Which is hard to do if people were still willing to give it a chance after the absolute debacle of a character death that was Han Solo.
Oh, in Force Awakens. I don't understand how they go in making a trilogy without a plan for where the story's going to go. Like, how do you do that? Like,
how does Kathleen Kennedy do that? I don't know.
She's not heading that division anymore, though, is she?
No, she's booted.
They got Dave Filoni now.
God willing.
I think so. They got the guy.
Someone who actually respects the source material and the fans. I mean, you got to mess up pretty bad to get Mark Hamill to just give up and actually say about Star Wars. You know, did you see the interview where somebody asked him, "Oh, are you going to be in the next one?" "Oh God, I hope not."
Did he really say that?
He said that. You got to mess up pretty bad on a franchise to get Mark Hamill to say that.
Was that Rian Johnson's movie that he was talking about?
I think they were talking. I think this was after wrapping up. Well, and Ryan, in all the press releases, you could see him trying to low-key warn fans about what was about to happen. It's kind of funny.
I didn't mind Last Jedi. There were definitely parts in it that I thought were completely stupid. But
the plot...
That's par for the course for Star Wars, though.
The plot in general, though, is absolutely stupid. All of a sudden, a battleship can run out of gas.
The one thing that I enjoyed about it that people were still pissed off about, was Luke. Luke's turn and his characterization, which I get, especially if you're a fan of the extended universe before Disney took over. Luke took a very different course of action, and he was this heroic figure that helped rebuild the Jedi and everything. And if you've seen The Last Jedi, spoiler alert, but he doesn't do that. Instead, he tries to kill his nephew in his sleep. And when he can't do it, then he gets like his entire Jedi school wiped out.
Karma.
That's why
I don't have a problem with his character arc. I just think it was highly poor. Rian Johnson is someone who is not nearly as clever as he thinks he is.
Have you watched Knives Out?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
It was kind of boring, but even with the twist, I still get the feeling that he thinks he's way more clever than he actually is.
That's how I feel about Quentin Tarantino too. And I enjoy Quentin Tarantino films.
I really like Reservoir Dogs. Whenever I heard that they broke a priceless guitar filming The Hateful Eight, it put a bad taste in my mouth about Tarantino.
I have not seen Hateful Eight.
I haven't either, but I didn't want to watch it because of that story.
But I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that might be one of his best films.
It's like he grew up.
Right.
Out of nowhere, it's like he grew up. I was really surprised by that movie. I thought, and even the stuff with Margot Robbie's character, and I forget who she plays, like people were like...
Sharon Tate.
Yeah, Sharon Tate. Why was she even in the film? She like doesn't do anything. I'm like... I don't know. There's something about the way he used Sharon Tate that I really appreciated, and that he had this way of showing her that was oddly relaxing in a way. Like there's one scene where he shows her going to go sit down and watch a movie. And I'm not someone who like really followed what Sharon Tate did, but there's something about, I can't quite articulate it just yet because I haven't thought about it in a while, but there's something about it that was, I feel in a sense, because of how her life tragically ended, was therapeutic.
I could see that. And I was going to say, forgiven Tarantino, aside from a gratuitous foot shot, surprisingly respectful to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
If we were playing that game where we slapped each other with rubber bands again,
Oh, we'd be all over
We'd be all over the place right now.
My arm would be bleeding.
I watched that episode recently.
It's a good episode. Or it's not. I haven't seen it in a while.
None of them were really good episodes. I mean,
We're in our prime.
whoever else is watching right now should know that. And later on, whenever you're listening, listener, I'm talking to you now, not the viewer. You'll know that as well. But I will say this: out of the entire sequel trilogy, my favorite moment came from The Last Jedi. The moment that the child part of me that enjoyed the series was seeing Yoda come back as a puppet.
Oh, okay. I did like that.
And those moments, the moments that he's sitting there with Luke, it's like this callback to Empire where the two of them are still master and student. And yeah, that was like the most, like I had a big smile on my face the moment that old Yoda showed up. Because young Yoda was kind of a jerk. But old Yoda was at this point tired and just kind of enjoying life and making jokes and stuff at that point. I enjoyed that. That was my favorite moment in the entire sequel trilogy. I don't know if I would say it was worth making the sequel trilogy.
Okay, but what was your second favorite? I feel like that's an obvious one. What was your second favorite moment?
Are you looking for me to say something outside of the
No,
Last Jedi?
No.
Probably the throne room fight scene. I can't remember.
I really enjoyed the throne room fight scene upon first viewing. It was a great theater experience. However, I watched Corridor Crew's absolute demolishing of the choreography, and for something with such an outstanding budget, once all the flaws in that fight scene are pointed out, it's kind of embarrassing. So if you like it, don't watch it. If you just want to like it, don't watch it. But they absolutely ruined it for me, and for good reasons, in my opinion.
The other favorite moment is when Finn and Rose let that dog horse thing go and say that it was worth it when leaving all those children imprisoned, those children slaves imprisoned.
Yeah,
that was also a really good scene.
That was touching. That was really touching, because animals are, important. Next movie.
Next movie. I'm trying to think of a favorite Star Wars film or Star Wars moment out from the sequel trilogy outside of that one.
And I wasn't someone who enjoyed The Force Awakens.
I didn't hate it.
It irked me that it was a cut and paste copy of A New Hope. It irked me. I'll be real. But that's who J.J. Abrams is.
I can't think of any other moment that actually... This does not spark joy. I can't think of any moment from the sequel trilogy, honestly, aside from the Yoda scene in Last Jedi.
I enjoyed the Yoda scene. I enjoyed seeing Yoda and Luke together again.
Yes.
That was nice. All right. Boring to the extreme. This is an older movie. However, I watched it for the first time this week.
Okay.
And I chose movies that I loved, actually.
Did you?
I did.
I did not go that route.
Okay, boring to the extreme. I expected far more. All of the characters, even Al Pacino's character, was ultra predictable. The story dragged from uninspiring detail to uninspiring detail. In fact, perhaps only Al Pacino's performance and some cool editing make the film somewhat watchable. This film packs all the suspense and interest of a newly painted wall as it dries. You know exactly where it's going from the opening 10 minutes. Even the ending does little to make it interesting. Christopher Nolan, you are the weakest link. In comparison to Memento, this film is a major stinker.
A Christopher Nolan movie with Al Pacino in it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know.
You would think that it would nail it down for you.
I don't know.
Don't go see it as a thriller. Don't go see it as a character study. Re-rent 7 or rent Open Your Eyes for that. In fact, just don't go see it. I can't believe people are praising the limited qualities of this film so highly.
What year did it release?
I think early 2000s.
Okay, I have no freaking clue, man.
I've heard about this movie, and I finally watched it this week.
You're gonna tell me the name, and I'm gonna hear it like at that point, and I have no clue. Right?
Okay, no guesses.
I have no.
Okay, Insomnia.
Insomnia. Never saw it. Didn't know he directed it.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
It is so good.
That's the one with Robin Williams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is such a good movie. And you know, I'm not like an Al Pacino fan. I don't really watch Al Pacino's films. But watching that
Ocean's
movie,
13.
I did like him in Ocean's 13, but that's
not his movie.
Who says it? Oh, Michael Scott. This is not like in Ocean's 11 where all your friends get together and you don't care how it turns out. You know, so that's not really a fair gauge of Al Pacino's how, I don't know what the word is, but how good he is at his craft. I watched that movie and I was so shocked at how good he is. Al Pacino, his acting in that movie, like, it just feels so natural. It's one of those rare experiences where you kind of see how an actor kind of loses himself in the character, at least while he's actually portraying the character. I was really surprised. All the little nuances, his character tics, his line delivery, it's really good. It makes me want to watch another Al Pacino movie.
Guy's a
Very
good actor.
surprising.
Guy's a good actor. Do I need to watch that before I watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
No, watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier first.
Okay. All right. Any more thoughts on Al Pacino?
No. I've said all I have to say about Al Pacino.
Cool.
Go watch more of his movies, I think.
All right, here's my last...
Start with Insomnia.
Here's my last
one.
Last one. There are elements that are done well. I wouldn't say the cinematography is garbage. That is well executed. But the characters don't seem to get any smarter. The revisiting of major plot devices from the previous movie was a bit corny.
Another sequel?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of mine were sequels, apparently. I
Apparently.
didn't think about. Some of the performances seemed unnatural. Perhaps 3 stars would be appropriate, but I looked forward to this movie and ended up tired with it after the first 15 minutes. I understand that they don't specifically name what town it's set in to make it connect to a broader audience, but the implied ambiguity feels forced in the dialogue. It's as if no one is interested in how the nearby town managed, and no one names places because it's forbidden. This might only work if you've seen it, but I'll give you some hints that might help you narrow it down.
When did it come out?
Like...
real recent?
Yeah, real recent.
Okay, give me another hint.
Another hint. We saw the original in theaters together.
Oh... Okay, I know what it is, and I haven't seen this movie.
You haven't? Neither have I, actually.
You haven't?
No. It was kind of cheap.
I want to watch it.
I do, too. See, whenever I set out to do...
Because I love Cillian Murphy. And
Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
No, I've been saying it
And
wrong
whatever
for
his
years.
name... You've been saying Cillian Murphy?
I'm very sorry,
I started off
Cillian
saying
Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, but then in an interview I heard him say Cillian Murphy.
It's the way it's
Go watch
spelled.
Peaky Blinders.
No fighting. No fighting. No fighting. Great show.
I love that show.
I love that. Anyway, so A Quiet Place Part 2. That's the film that review was for. Apparently the person who wrote it was a big fan, and they admit that they're probably being too hard on the movie. They say that it's more than likely a 3-star film. But with how much they were looking forward to Part 2.
I know you didn't really like the experience of watching the first one.
Well, let me...
You had a lot of nitpicks about it.
I did, and I do. That was the movie that made me really analyze Rotten Tomatoes and start looking at it. Because Rotten Tomatoes, if you're unfamiliar with how it works, it's not actually saying that the movie is 98% out of 100, that this is like the greatest movie of all time. What it's saying is 98% of the reviews are positive reviews. So
they 98% of the reviews at least lean 51% positive.
Right.
Is what it's saying.
So a better aggregate review score would be something like Metacritic, which actually takes it and says, okay, like So technically, a 98% movie could have a review average of like 80 or 60 or
51
or 51. Like if every single one of the reviews was 51, like a 2.5.3, it could have a score, a realistic score that low. Quiet Place, the first one, people loved. You loved it. I enjoyed watching it in theaters at the time, with the exception of that. Who are we sitting next to?
Oh my gosh! So I actually had. If you saw it in theaters, you know how quiet the theater was. Like, you could hear a pin drop, except for the girl sitting right next to me. Who, don't you hate it? You go into a theater, and just before the trailer starts, you think that you're going to be sitting next to nobody.
It's going to be empty. And
it's going to be nice,
wonderful.
And then, because this is the kind of person who shows up late, they end up being the most absolutely obnoxious moviegoers. I was very polite, but I said, "Hey, can you please kind of be a little bit quieter?"
And I heard her. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank goodness." Thank God she was at least, polite about it.
Can you imagine if she gave you attitude or something?
Oh my goodness!
Like, just turned it around on you, like, "Who are you?" and then got louder.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
That could have.
You could have been on YouTube.
It could have been on YouTube.
Through
she would have brought out her phone, started showing me, like, "I'm gonna put you on Gawker." That's not a thing anymore, I don't think.
What I will say about the movie is that the sound design is absolutely stunning, and if you go into the theater to watch it, you're giving yourself the best experience possible to watch the film, especially if people don't get popcorn, if people don't get loud snacks.
Yeah.
Which we were lucky. For the most part, that's the experience that we had. It was quiet.
You remember whenever I dropped the whole thing of popcorn?
Right before
Endgame started?
I do remember. I think about that sometimes.
That's absolutely something I would do. What's impressive about A Quiet Place is the script. So the script is mostly sound design.
Is it?
Well, I mean how they wrote the script. I don't mean like the script per se. But
is that why the plot's terrible? Anyway, continue.
I watch it as a masterclass in tension. I think it's really good at tension.
That's fair. Now,
the movie around it, I'm not going to argue if you didn't like it. I get it. I understand it has some major plot points. It seems to be part of the charm of it for me is that John Krasinski, I feel like I remember doing this as a kid where I would come up with an idea and then I'd get super excited about it and flesh it out like an alien creature, and I feel like that's what John Krasinski did in this movie.
For sure.
Like he came up with this somewhat unique idea, and fleshed it out and was really like nerding over his idea, which I can appreciate. I like that. But whatever.
And it's also, it doesn't hurt that it's John Krasinski too.
Yeah,
he's a national treasure.
Emily Blunt and John Krasinski are like two of the most likable actors.
They are American royalty.
They are.
If we had American royalty, that's who they would be.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we'll get to see them as Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic.
Okay, look, I'm trying, but I'm really meh on the MCU right now.
Black Widow's pretty good, and if you were a fan of the character Black Widow, I feel like you'll enjoy it. I was a
major fan of, but this movie should have come out like 5 years ago.
Fair, but it's here now.
It's here now. However, watching the trailers, some of the stuff it looks like she survives, I feel like cheapens Endgame for me a little bit.
Oh, the fact that she's able to do... I didn't look at it through that lens.
She's falling through the sky with hellfire around her, and she gets thrown off a cliff.
But see,
she hurls herself off
the
of
argument could be made that she was trying to survive those events, whereas she was willingly sacrificing herself in Endgame. Spoiler alert.
Who hasn't seen Endgame yet?
No, it was the second highest grossing movie of all time. Everybody technically should have seen it.
What was the first highest grossing movie of all time?
Avatar took it back. They did a re-release for the 10-year anniversary or something, and
that's funny.
They took it back.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. That's like your older brother, like, is a basketball star, and then he has this great record, and then you grow up, and then you surpass the record, and then he comes back to play a guest game, and he just dunks the ball on you constantly, and you can't get a win in. That's hilarious. That's
What?
Nothing.
Oh, did I?
nothing.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That is so funny. They're like, you know what? Let's make some money. That's funny. But I digress.
Yeah, Avatar came back into it. Personally, I prefer Endgame between the two movies, but I get what Avatar did at the time was,
I think it would too.
if not plot-wise unique.
Ferngully. But what James Cameron did was closer to creating a video game.
Yeah.
Like, he created an entire world, which is really impressive at the time.
And I can't remember who it was that said this, but the 3D that they used was pretty groundbreaking at the time. It wasn't pop out.
It really changed the game.
You
Like,
know,
everybody would use 3D with, like in My Bloody Valentine, where the pickaxe goes and pokes the guy's eye out, and the eye comes right up in your face. What James Cameron did with Avatar is went the opposite direction, where it looked like you were looking out through a window, which nobody really
Way more
did
effective.
at the time. Yeah.
Way more effective.
And that was like the first 3D movie that people saw. They were like, oh, this is what 3D could be.
Yeah.
Really interesting. I'm still not a big fan of 3D films.
Well, it's going the way of the dinosaur.
It is.
There's still a few movies that are releasing with it, but they're getting fewer and further between.
Until they start doing VR films.
Yes. And then we're all in Ready Player One at that point.
Oh my gosh, what a mess.
You didn't like Ready Player
I
One?
hated Ready Player One.
Oh, we're in a disagreement on that one then.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought... You know what we need to do? We need to do, not a live stream, but we need to put the camera on and watch some of these movies. And we were like, I could be like, this is trash, and you were like, no, it's not trash, this is why. And vice versa.
Vice versa.
Vice versa, in real time.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll set it up.
We'll set it
We'll
up.
make it happen.
One of these Thursdays. I don't know what we're doing next Thursday. Got any ideas?
Next Thursday is...
Not next Thursday, the Thursday after next Thursday.
We don't want to give that away yet.
Yeah, it's
hush hush. We
top secret. We have to prepare. We're scripting it.
We are using, what is it called? Notion. We are using Notion.
We're using Notion. No more kiddie off the cuff stuff. That's kiddie stuff. This is real Hollywood film.
It's Hollywood movie.
I love Disaster Artist, and
So do I, yeah. It's the one I still go back to watch.
I still watch that movie. There's 3 movies I watch in cycles and often, or there's a few. I'll name them off. Nightcrawler. Both of the Steve Jobs movies, because I like to compare how terrible one is compared to how absolutely amazing the other is.
I'm guessing the one with Michael Fassbender.
The Danny Boyle one with Aaron Sorkin as the writer and Michael Fassbender as the actor is outclasses the Ashton Kutcher one by leagues. Mind you, I loved the Ashton Kutcher one when it first came out. I was a young dumb kid. And what's the other one? I loved watching The Founder.
The one with Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton. That's an amazing movie. And the one we were just talking about, Disaster Artist. So those are 4 films that I watch often. There's something about them brings me back. I don't know what it is.
I watch TV shows often, not films often. And yet I can't get through the MCU TV shows for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, you can't do it.
For whatever reason.
You know what? That's proof to me that you're on the same page as I am. Because if you actually enjoyed them...
What about regarding the MCU?
Yeah.
I'm going to go see all the movies.
Right. I am too. But I'm very meh on it right now. Meh.
Shang-Chi, I'm kind of meh on. I'm excited about Eternals. You know that. Spider-Man, I'm definitely going to go see opening day. I will try my best to see Shang-Chi opening weekend, but if it doesn't happen...
Yeah, the trailer for Shang-Chi didn't really grab me. I see people being like, this is going to be amazing. I'm like, I don't see it. This looks like G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. I'm not saying it'll be that bad.
That's racist.
Which part?
No, I agree. I think that, to be fair, for phase 1 of the MCU, I wasn't super involved in it either. I didn't watch any of the Avengers movies until I knew the Avengers film was coming out. And then I went back and rewatched them. Not rewatched them, and then I went back and watched them all. And to be fair, with Phase 4, we're kind of in that world building stage again. We're at the learning process. The thing about the MCU that kind of gets to me after a while is that it's so...
Spoken like somebody who hasn't watched Loki yet.
It's so mammoth at this point. It's hard to... Like, if I want to rewatch the MCU, that's like a... I'm sorry, Mike.
It's a big undertaking.
Yeah, it's like 23 movies now, or 22 movies now at this point. It's now 5 television series,
But
6
really all you
television
need to
series.
watch is Iron Man, Captain America, The Avengers. Is there any movies you really need to watch in Phase 2?
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy, even if that...
Why don't you have to watch Thor?
Because it's boring.
But it's the introduction to the villain of Avengers.
Yeah, but I still don't think you like need it all.
And
that
the
much.
critical introduction to
Look,
Hawkeye.
I'm not big on Loki. I like Tom Hiddleston, and I think
Great in Kong Skull Island. He was great in Kong Skull Island.
maybe I have to rewatch it. But I remember watching that movie and being like, this feels like it was written by a high school literature major or
Probably.
something. I was like, this is, or not a high school, a college literature
There
major.
are very few action movies that I actually go into watching with the intent of having a solid script on it. When it comes to giant monster movies, I don't really care about the script too much.
I hear you. You know, I really like. I can't even. You see him in a lot of things.
Who?
He was the guy that he's about to sacrifice himself, but then he gets tail whipped into a mountain.
I don't remember his name.
I forget his name. I really like that actor for some reason. And he was the dad in Death Note. He was the police officer in Fast and Furious 4. You see him all over the place. I really like that guy. He was in Splinter. He was one of the main characters.
Haven't
in
seen
Splinter.
any of these movies you're naming.
He's in a lot of stuff. You didn't see Death Note?
Nope.
It was lame. It was lame. It was terrible. But it is what it is. I really like that actor.
Kaiju films are like a guilty pleasure of mine. Kaiju films.
Oh, so you must be really excited about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, very much so.
I am excited about Suicide Squad.
Kaiju films are a guilty pleasure of mine. I even like the old Godzilla movies from Japan, the Toho ones that were released in the 50s.
Guinness Tojo.
I even like the 1997 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick and Jean Reno.
I just love Jean Reno.
Same.
I love Leon,
The Professional.
the professional.
If you're nasty.
I don't get it.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson song.
Oh, is that like the theme song of that movie?
No.
I haven't seen it in a while.
The theme song.
It's been a while.
One of the best Foo Fighters songs is actually associated with that album, and they can't release it in like greatest hits or anything. It's not available to stream anywhere because they don't have the licensing rights to it.
Oof. Well, that's all today from us. We're coming up on our time. Thank you for those of you who stayed. Jeremiah, thank you for
Keeping
inflating
our
our numbers.
double digits.
I'm gonna put my phone on next time. So, but that's all.
So
That's all for us, and we'll catch you on the flippity flip.
You're supposed to do that. Yeah. Well done.
Well done.
You're getting better at that.
I am.
Shaking off the rust.
And stream.
Say all your hateful things now.